Hi, I'm Darian. I am a prenatal and postpartum fitness specialist. I've been a personal trainer and group fitness instructor for 10 years. Prenatal exercise can reduce your risk of gestational diabetes, high blood pressure, preeclampsia, urinary incontinence. It can decrease your risk of postpartum depression and decrease your postpartum recovery time. It also increases your strength, your lean muscle mass, your overall sense of well-being, and it actually makes you a better advocate for yourself. And this is the reason I truly love prenatal training, is because you get to really connect and get in tune with your body, which enables you to better tell your providers and your partner what you need and how you're feeling. So it really gives you the confidence to move through this pregnancy in a really strong and capable way, and to go into your birth knowing that you can bring your baby into this world.
Today I'm going to show you a warm-up, 3 full body workouts, and 2 mobility routines.
Your breathing technique during prenatal exercise is so important. So we're going to get started with that.
So you can do the diaphragmatic breathing or connection breath either laying down on your back or in an upright position, kneeling, which I'm going to show you in a second here, or seated or up against a wall. So you're going to breathe deeply into the ribs. Imagine expanding the ribs and expanding the belly, and then on the exhale, letting everything deflate. And then to make this a more active breath, you're going to inhale just like we described, expanding and widening the ribs and the belly. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift the pelvic floor and tighten the abdomen. So this is more of a bracing position, and this is what you'll want to take through into your workout. So here you can see I'm doing the diaphragmatic breathing in a kneeling position. So if you're uncomfortable laying on your back, you can always do this upright, and it's the same thing. So you'll inhale into the ribs, expanding the belly, and then on the exhale, lifting the pelvic floor like you were doing a Kegel and tightening the abdomen.
Okay, so now that we've practiced the breathing technique, let's move on to the warm-up. The warm-up I'm going to show you will work for all of the workouts because all of the workouts are full body workouts.
Okay, move 1 of the warm-up is 10 hip bridges. So again, you're going to lay on the floor if that's comfortable for you. If not, you can always elevate your back onto a couch or a chair and do the same exact movement that way. So you're going to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, squeeze your glutes to lift. So you want to be inhaling on the way down and then exhaling on the way up. So this is a great exercise for warming up the hamstrings, glutes, and hips. Move 2, you're going to do 10 bird dog. So in a tabletop position, so on hands and knees with shoulders stacked over the wrists and hips stacked over the knees, you're going to inhale and then exhale, tighten as you lift opposite arm and leg. Don't worry so much about how high you're lifting your arm and leg. You want to focus more on maintaining a neutral spine. So you don't want to be overarching through the back. So move 3 here is 10 tabletop to bear. So once you've completed those bird dogs, you'll already be in your tabletop position. So you'll just be lifting your hips up and back and moving your chest back towards your thighs. So you'll inhale, exhale, lift, and then inhale, lower. So this is a great warm-up for the lower body, core, and shoulders. So this is really a full body warm-up movement. All right, the last move of the warm-up is 10 reverse lunges. So you'll go ahead and stand up, and then you'll take one leg back and then the other. You want to make sure to be keeping your shoulders over top of your hips and dropping your back knee down to hover or just kiss the floor. Okay, so that's our full body warm-up, 10 hip bridges, 10 bird dog, 10 tabletop to bear, 10 reverse lunges times 3.
Okay, now that you're nice and toasty, let's get started with workout number 1. We're going to do this as an interval timed workout. I like doing interval timed workouts during pregnancy because it kind of mimics contractions, where you're working really hard for a certain amount of time and then really utilizing the rest for a certain amount of time. So we're gonna work for 40 seconds and then rest for 20 seconds. And I'm gonna show you 6 different movements.
Okay, move 1 is a squat. So you're going to want to put your feet underneath your shoulders with your toes straight ahead or just slightly turned out. As you drop your hips down, you're going to keep your chest nice and tall and track your knees towards your pinky toes. So you want the top of the knee to be above the crease of the hip. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can always modify by doing a box squat. So as you get further in your pregnancy, if you're feeling any heaviness in your pelvic floor, this would be a great option. So you're going to use a bench or chair. You're going to sit back onto that item and then really squeeze your glutes, press into your heels to stand up, and try to avoid letting your knees track too far towards the toes. So try to keep those knees right over top of the ankles. Movement 2 is a push-up. So you want to make sure that your spine is neutral, that your hands are underneath your shoulders, and that your belly button is leading you out of this push-up. If that's not accessible for you, you can always do a knee push-up by dropping the knees down. The rest of the form is the same. So these are great options for first trimester and about partway through second trimester. Once you start getting a belly bump, it may be necessary to elevate the hand. And then once you're getting further along in your pregnancy, you may also need to drop the knees down to alleviate some of the pressure on the abdomen and pelvic floor. Next here we have alternating single leg hip bridges. So just like the hip bridge we did in the warm-up, you're going to inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. You're going to squeeze the glutes and hamstrings, and you want to make sure that you're not lifting so high that your back is arching a lot. You want to try to maintain neutral spine. And of course, if you feel uncomfortable laying on your back, you can always elevate your back onto a couch or stool and do the same exact movement there. Here we have bent over Y's, T's, and L's. This is a great exercise for shoulders and upper back. So you'll be in a hinged position. You'll make a Y shape, a T shape, lift the elbows high, and rotate. Next is an alternating step up. So you want to be focusing on pressing into the top foot and avoiding a big kickoff off the bottom leg. So you can see that I'm trying to keep my bottom leg pretty straight as I step into the heel that's on my bench. And you want to stand up nice and tall, exhaling up, inhaling on the way down. Okay, so we made it to the final movement. This is a plank pull through. This is actually a core movement. It's called anti-rotational core work. So as I'm pulling through, I'm trying to avoid letting my body rotate. So you'll see here that I have a wide stance. Now I'm demoing with a water bottle. If you don't have dumbbells, you can always use that. And I'm really focusing on tightening my core so that my hips and shoulders are remaining neutral. If that's not accessible for you, you can always bring the knees under the hips and hover them above the ground. It will take off some of the pressure, but you'll still feel a lot of core work happening here. And the idea is the same. You want to maintain neutral hips and shoulders. Then if that is feeling too challenging, so maybe you're further along in your pregnancy, you can just drop the knees to the floor and really focus in on the breath and tightening the core on the exhale as you pull. So that's workout 1. You're setting your timer for 40 on, 20 off, going through all 6 of those moves 3 times, and modify as needed.
Okay, workout number 2. It's going to be a descending ladder, and I really love this format of working out because as you continue through the workout and become more fatigued, the reps are reducing, so it really helps to keep you motivated and keep moving towards the end. So we're going to go over 4 different exercises. So you'll do each exercise for 14 reps, then 12 reps, then 10 reps, and so on until you complete 2 of each.
Okay, move one is a bear to squat. So just like we did in that warm-up, that tabletop to bear, similar idea here. Hips are moving up and back, only now you're stepping the feet forward, making sure heels are on the floor, dropping the hips down, and then standing up. So you want a deep squat here, squeeze the glutes to stand, and then reverse that to bring the knees back down to the floor. Don't underestimate this movement. This one is tough and you will feel your quads on fire. It's so great for full body training. Okay, move 2 of this workout is a half kneeling bicep curl to press. So I love single side movements because this is also a really great way to do core work, because you really have to focus on stabilizing to maintain neutral body position. So you're going to be doing a bicep curl with the arm that is opposite the leg that's forward. If you don't have a dumbbell, you can of course just use a water bottle. You want to make sure that when you're doing the press, the elbow is staying in front of you, and at the top, the elbow is straight, right next to the ear. Think about pulling your ribs down, so maybe moving your belly button towards your chin and keeping your hips tucked underneath you. The final movement in this workout is a dead bug. This is an excellent way to work core during pregnancy. So again, you'll be laying on your back. You want to maintain a neutral spine. You're going to inhale and then exhale as you lower opposite arm and leg, and continue that exhale all the way through the lifting. If that feels like too much breath for you, you can inhale as you lower and then exhale as you lift. The key here is making sure that you have neutral spine at all time. So you're only ever going to lower as far as you can maintain proper form. So ribs pulling down towards the floor. If that feels too challenging, it can be nice to elevate the legs onto a stool or your couch or a chair and focus on the arms and the core work and the breath. The legs can make this movement really, really challenging, and the key here is to maintain neutral spine. So elevating the legs can really help you to do that. Another option, if you don't feel comfortable laying on your back, so like we talked about in the beginning, if you're experiencing any nausea, lightheadedness, dizziness, or shortness of breath while laying on your back, you'll want to sit against a wall with legs in butterfly position. Maintain neutral spine as you just focus on breath and moving the arms. So you would inhale, exhale, lift, and then lower the arm. That is workout number 2. So we have our descending ladder. You'll do 14 of each of those moves, 12 of each, 10 of each, all the way down to 2 of each. Bear to squat, half kneeling curl to press on one side then the other, and dead bug.
All right, workout number 3 is going to be an every minute on the minute style workout. Now I really like this style of workout for a similar reason that I like the interval timed workouts, because it allows you to practice working hard for a certain amount of time and then really practicing resting and recovering in the remainder of the time. So with every minute on the minute style workouts, I'm going to give you an exercise and a certain number of reps that you're going to try to complete within that minute. So if you finish early, you have the remainder of the minute to rest. If you don't finish within the minute, that's okay. Still complete the set and then just rest and wait until the next minute. So I'm going to give you 5 exercises and I'm going to let you know how many reps you're meant to complete within the minute.
Okay, movement 1, kettlebell deadlift. So with your feet under your hips, you're going to place your kettlebell right between the arches of your feet. You're going to push your hips back, maintain vertical shins and neutral spine. This is a posterior chain movement, so you're going to be focusing on hamstrings and glutes. You won't really feel too much in the quads. If you don't have a kettlebell, I love to modify exercises with a loaded up diaper bag. So you can throw some books in there or your kids' toys or whatever you have to add some weight to that bag and do the exact same form here. The key is really to maintain neutral spine and push your hips back behind you. Now, if you're further along in your pregnancy, you can also do a sumo deadlift by widening your stance and turning your toes out. This can also be done with the diaper bag if you don't have a kettlebell, and all the form is exactly the same. Neutral spine, hips back, vertical shins. Next, we have a dumbbell floor press. So laying on the floor, you're going to bring your elbows about 45 degrees away from your body. You're going to exhale to press up, inhale down. If you're uncomfortable laying flat on your back, one option is to lift the hips, and this will also enable you to get a little extra hamstring and glute work. A third modification for this movement that you're going to see here in a second would be an incline press. So you can incline against a stool, or even if you have a stability ball, you can use that as well, but the form is the same. Here we have a side-to-side lateral lunge. This can be done weighted like I'm doing here, or with no weights at all. That's perfectly fine. This movement is more of a hinge than a squat, so you want to be focusing on pushing your hips back behind you like you can see here. So my shins are staying pretty vertical. I'm pushing my glutes back and maintaining a nice flat, tall back position. This is shown with water bottles, so if you do want to use a bit of weight but don't have dumbbells, that's always a great option. On minute 4, you're going to be doing Renegade Rows. So if you're in your first trimester or even in the first half of your second trimester, you can maintain plank position while doing these. If that feels a bit too challenging, you'll want to just drop the knees down. But just like with the first movement, you're pulling the dumbbell back towards the hip, maintaining neutral hips and shoulders. Focus on exhaling as you pull, inhaling as you lower. This would be a third trimester option, would be to drop the knees down into tabletop position. And here I'm showing with water bottles if you don't have dumbbells. Lastly, minute 5, you're going to be doing a knee-assisted side plank with a clamshell. So I'm finding side plank where my hips are lifted off the floor and my ribs are lifted so that there's no sagging through the middle. So you're maintaining plank position through the middle and then squeezing your glutes to open that top knee up. You want to exhale as you open, inhale as you close. That was workout 3. So every minute on the minute, you'll see that I have a rep range there, which is 16 to 20. You're going to want to start on the higher end of the rep range, but if you're consistently unable to finish that number of reps within the minute, you can always reduce the reps.
Okay, so we've gotten through all 3 of our workouts. So when you do this at home, you'll do the warm-up first that we started with, and then you'll do the workout. And then we'll go over a stretch. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you a very simple quick stretch routine that you can do after all of these workouts.
First, you'll want to do a couch stretch for 1 minute on each side. Then you can move into pigeon again for 1 minute on each side. And then finally, you can move into your Komodo dragon stretch. You'll take your hands wide, drop your chest down so that your elbows are about at 90 degrees. You'll internally rotate one shoulder as you look up in the opposite direction. So you'll feel a front of shoulder stretch on the lower shoulder and a nice upper back twist. So there you have a quick and simple post-workout stretch, 1 minute of couch on each side, 1 minute of pigeon on each side, and your 10 Komodo dragon stretches.
I'm going to finally show you 2 different full body mobility routines. So these routines are something you can do daily. You can do them upon waking up in the morning. You can do them in the evening before bed. You can pull a few exercises from these routines to do here and there throughout the day as you might start to notice some tightness. So let's get going on these mobility routines. I know that you're going to love them.
Again, here I like to start with the connection breath. So laying on the floor or upright, whatever is comfortable for you. Big inhales and exhales. And then we go into our thoracic twist up. So in tabletop position with your fingers on one ear, you're going to twist up and follow your elbow with your eyes. You're going to feel a nice upper back twist here. And then you can go into a full cat-cow. So you're going to be arching your back and then rounding your back. And you really want to think about segmenting and moving one vertebra at a time. So you can see here that I'm going to exhale, tuck my chin, and slowly round my back, finally tucking my hips under, and then reverse that while inhaling. This move is called a tripod. This is a great hip stretch in addition to a really great core engagement exercise. So you want to bring your legs slowly on an exhale towards your hand, making sure your hips stay back over your knees, and then bringing it back to center on an inhale. Okay, so now you're going to get into a bear crawl position for a 4 steps forward, 4 steps backwards bear crawl. So you want to be moving opposite arm and leg simultaneously and avoid letting your hips shift side to side. So you're really focusing on core work. You're going to get a full lower body workout and a great upper body and shoulder workout as well. From that bear crawl, you can just step right into a deep squat. You're going to bring the arms up by the ears and then lower them down to the ground for a forward fold. So while you're in the squat, you want knees pressing out, heels on the ground, hips low, tall chest. Then in the forward fold, straighten the knees as much as possible and let the head relax down. And that's mobility routine number 1. So now we're going to move on to mobility routine number 2. So again, you can start with your connection breath. And here I'm showing it in the kneeling position in case that's more comfortable for you. From there, you can go into book openers. So you'll see here that my knees are bent. I have my bottom arm holding onto my top leg, and my top arm hand is right by my ears. So I'm just closing and then opening. The goal here is that as you open, you want to bring your top shoulder blade down to the floor for a nice spinal rotation. Of course, you only want to go as low as is comfortable and safe for you in this position. And you're going to want to come into a tabletop position for some hip circles. So you want to think about drawing big circles with your knee so that you're moving your hip through a full range of motion. You'll do 5 forward and 5 back before switching sides. Staying in tabletop, we're going to work our shoulder rotation. So you're going to extend your arm forward, lifting it to the height of the ear, and then windmill it onto your back, placing the back of your hand as close to in between the shoulder blades as possible. And then you'll reverse. From there, you'll step forward into a deep squat position and pressing your shoulder into your same knee, you're going to lift the chest and twist up towards the sky. And you want to kind of follow your hand with your eyes so you get a nice big twist. So for our last mobility of this series, you're going to do a shin box. So you're going to swivel the knees to one side, maintaining 90 degrees on both legs with arms out in front of you. You want to try to keep your back and chest nice and tall. From there, imagine the top of the head going straight up to the sky as you squeeze your glutes, press into your shins, and pop up. If you find that it's too challenging to pop up from that position, you can decrease the angle of the knees, so bringing the feet closer in towards the body, or you can just do the hip swivel side to side without the pop-up. And there you have it. That is mobility routine number 2.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you love these workouts and really enjoy these mobility routines. I hope that they're helpful to you. Best of luck to all of you throughout your transition into motherhood.